All right, today I have the Pro Max Professional Edge Lace Training Glove, Sparring Glove from Title Boxing. Pro Max is obviously a brand from Title Boxing. This is kind of one of those brands that is supposed to be Mexican influenced. Definitely feels like that, but they definitely do different things. So there's definitely things that I want to talk about in this review. I got these gloves surprisingly in 18 ounces. And one of my biggest concerns was that this 18-ounce glove was going to be massive, right? I thought it was going to be humongous. But I was wrong, and I was pleasantly surprised that this glove actually looks a lot smaller than some of my 16-ounce gloves. But I'll get to that a little bit later. This glove's 18 ounces. They both weighed in around 16.6. One of them was 16.6. One of them was 16.64. I mean, not 16, I'm sorry, 17.6 and 17.64. Wow, got my numbers confused, but that's what these gloves were weighed in as. So 17.6 and 17.64 is not a big deal. I think that's pretty good for an 18-ounce glove, which is what these are. Now, I do want to mention the fact that they don't show that it's 18 ounces anywhere on this glove except for the very inside of the glove. You're going to have to really dig deep and look. I don't know if you can see it. You'll be able to see the 18 ounces inside of the glove. I wish they didn't do that. I wish they showed that the ounces at least either on the tags here or somewhere on the glove where you could see it. Because when you are sparring, you kind of want to, make sure that that portion of the glove inside doesn't wear off. And next thing you know, people don't believe this is 18 ounces. And they probably won't, because this is, I would say, a compact glove for 18 ounces. Now, this glove is made in Pakistan. Also, as you can see from the tag, if you can't see it, actually, I probably won't even show you because it's such a small tag here. But it'll say it's made in Pakistan. That's a really, that's normal. Nowadays, every glove right now I feel like is made in Pakistan. Not every glove, but a majority of the gloves are made in Pakistan. They have a lot of good glove makers out there. I'm not knocking it. It's just the reality of it. Now, on top of that, this glove's made from 100% genuine cowhide leather, and the leather, I would say, is, comparable to some other leathers. If you guys are familiar with some of the leathers that I've reviewed, this is actually a decent leather. I would say like it's comparable to like a Lee Oak boxing glove almost. I would give it that title. It's a decently thick leather. It's not crazy, but it's pretty good. The coloring of the glove, obviously, I got myself the silver colorway, obviously silver and black. I like the silver. I don't like gloves when they're too shiny. I like it when they're more of a matte color like this. This has more of like a satin type of finish to it. It has a nice smooth texture to it. There isn't much grooves and bumps, but it is a very smooth glove. So expect that, once you do get gloves that are a little more shiny on the satin side or anything like that, they're probably gonna show some wear and tear on the punch surface. But I have acknowledged that, and that's fine with me. Now, when it comes to the padding of the glove, they mentioned that it's a rubber latex padding. Now, I don't know how many layers are in this glove. I've tried to look this up. I do not know, but it's rubber latex, so take it as it is. And that's just how I'm going to describe it to you. The latex right here, you can see that this is the thickness of it. It's not too thick. I would say it's probably somewhere between 1.5 inches or so in terms of thickness. This glove is not really a big glove in terms of padding, but it's definitely a protective glove. Don't get that twisted at all. Now, when it comes to the liner of the glove, I will say this is just a normal tricot liner. I've been seeing this on a lot of gloves lately. This nice, soft tricot liner. It's comfortable. They're on a lot of gloves that are a little higher in price than these, but they are on a lot of them because they have such a nice comfort to it. They're nice and soft and, and things like that. So I think that that's a nice liner for people to understand that this is really nice. I actually prefer more of a polyester liner, something that would, stop kind of the sweating. But I will get to that because obviously you have these holes here, which is like the perforated leather palm here, which does help with making sure this glove isn't too hot. So I will get to that a little later. The cuff design here, you'll see that there's like a cloth design here on this. This is Professional Pro Mex Mexico. Very misleading here because obviously this is not made in Mexico. It's Mexican inspired. So I wish that this didn't say Mexico. I wish that the overall logo here did not say Pro T Mex Mexico here, because obviously it's not made in Mexico. It's made in Pakistan. So, you know, needless to say, it's Mexican inspired. So we'll just say that. The cuff itself has that nice X marking here with the double stitching. This definitely reminds me of something like, you know, MK1, or maybe you get a glove like a fly glove or something like that. Well, you'll see this kind of design. So I actually like this design a lot. I actually prefer these designs more than I prefer the triple cuffs, but it's not to knock triple cuff padded gloves here. I just like this because I think that the laces do a really good job at sealing it in right here, and it makes your wrist smaller. Now, people might want their wrist to be bigger. That's fine. But for me, I like my wrist to be smaller, and that's what it is. Now, in terms of the padding of the wrist portion of the glove, you'll see that it has a pretty good padding. I would say it's probably, I would give it an inch of padding, and it's very dense here. Onto the back side of the glove, you'll see that there is a dense foam padding here, and that's really good because that's good for a lot of the protection on the wrist. So I'm a big fan of that. Now, when it comes to the front portion of here, you'll see that there is probably a ½ inch of soft foam coming from the inside here, and you can see I could bend it, you know, and a lot of it's probably the perforated holes here that are making it a lot easier to bend here. But you'll see that there is padding from here all the way to here. It's pretty thick, but it's not thick in terms of this wide. It's more thick in terms of here. But it's probably because it's an 18-ounce glove, maybe. But ultimately, this is very soft padding. I don't mind it. It doesn't make me feel like there is no protection here. But obviously, there is soft padding on that portion of the glove. In terms of the style, you'll see that there is a genuine leather sign right here, which is great. And then you'll see that they have that Pro Mex design here on the palm. I actually like this whole entire perforated system here. It makes me think of the 1910 Everlast gloves, which I do really like. Some people don't, but I do like them because of that style. It does make the hands not sweat as much, but that's great as well. Now, and also in terms of style, I'll talk about the welted seams of the glove. Now, the welted seams are kind of all over the place, in my opinion. There are welted seams, so they're really great in terms of, you know, obviously more durability, in my opinion. But they're, in some portions of the glove, they're very, very long pieces of leather here that are sticking out longer than other pieces. Now, not a humongous deal, but, you know, I wish they would tighten that up a little bit. But like I said, this is a title boxing glove, and it's very, very well priced. So I don't really, I want to knock them too hard, but I will say that the welted seams in terms of this glove, they go all over the place. They're not exactly uniform, but they do its job. They're welted seams, so it's better than not having the welted seams, in my opinion. Now, I do want to talk about overall stitching of the glove. As you can see, there's portions of this glove that, you know, are probably not the best. I would say that if you could see it, I don't know if you can, it's kind of a crooked logo here, so the stitching is a little off on this portion of the glove, and there's also a little bit of a poking out portion right here. No biggie to me. If you ever seen any of my reviews previously, I don't care too much about little bitty stitching issues, because I'm more about whether or not the glove itself is a quality glove for the price, and this is definitely a quality glove for the price. The stitching anywhere else is very solid. I can't see anything, so I give it credit for that. I think they did a good job. I would just say that there's probably like a crooked logo here. Maybe this glove is a little crooked this way, turning this way, and this one's turning this way. but it's very slight. So unless you're really looking for it, then it's whatever. But like I said, we're fighting with these gloves. We're not, we're not playing patty cake. So on top of that, we have the glove size of the glove, the just overall dimensions of the glove. I will say this is for an 18-ounce glove. And I got 18 ounces, obviously, because I'm getting bigger. I can't get away with using 16 ounces all the time. 18-ounce glove, it is compact. And I'm going to compare it to a glove that I think a lot of people know. A pair of Leo gloves that are 16 ounces, right? Now we have this. Now look at this. Let's get this into perspective here. This is 18 ounces, this is 16 ounces. So I'm giving you a good representation of, what a glove really could look like. I mean, this is obviously looks like a 16-ounce glove, but it's 18 ounces. But it's actually almost looks a little smaller than the 16-ounce glove that I have here. So just put that into perspective. If you're into something that is more compact and you want an 18-ounce glove, then you have to really, and you're looking for a glove that might be, you don't want a massive glove that's at 18 ounces. This is probably what you're looking for in terms of that. Now, in terms of the grip bar, I do want to talk about the grip bar. I would say that it's a very soft grip bar. I think this grip bar is soft, medium to soft, and I think it's a little small. I wish the grip bar was a little bit of a thicker grip bar. I do like thicker grip bars. I think that it's better for overall, feel when you're punching things in. It's obvious. I've said that a million times. Now, obviously, you have the perforated hole, so I'm not going to talk about the air holes in the glove except for the thumb. Now, the thumb does have a total of 6 air holes on the thumb, and I like that as well. So the glove entirely is a really good glove when it comes to making sure your hand is cool and making sure your hand doesn't stay too wet due to sweat. So it's very, very, very appreciated. So I think that's really good. You have the attached thumb portion here. This is kind of weird to me because you can see that it's kind of pulling. So I mean, the attached thumb portion here is kind of pulling, but it's not a big deal. But I thought it was going to look more like this, but it looks more like this. I don't know if you can see that, but ultimately the thumb isn't a humongous deal. Now, in terms of the thumb itself, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a difference in terms of the wrinkles of the thumb. You can see the right thumb has more of a wrinkle texture to it. It looks like it's stitched differently. The left thumb is more smooth. Not a humongous deal to me, but obviously if I have to point out differences of the glove, it would be that. Also, in terms of the differences of the glove, I could see that there's a dimple. I don't know if you can see it. There's a dimple here on the right portion of the glove. And there's also a portion of the glove here that's a little bumped here. I don't know what that is, but the left glove does not have that, obviously. And I don't know if you can see it. Maybe if I keep moving it, you can see it, but the silver texture might make it really hard for you to see it. But in terms of uniformity, the left glove is better than the right glove because of those imperfections on the right glove. Not a huge deal. Like I said, we're talking about boxing gloves. We're not talking about, handbags, but it is something to mention. Now, in terms of the comfort of the glove. Okay. Actually, let me get to the laces. I do want to talk about the laces here because they're rolled laces. They're actually thick rolled laces, and I actually really prefer these. I know a lot of people prefer flat laces, and that's fine. But these rolled laces, I think, are really thick and durable. And look how long these are. I'm still going. I like how long they are. Extremely long laces. And I appreciate long laces. I think that, wrapping your hands around, using the laces is really important to me. But it's not the end of the world. Like I said, you could always change your laces, but I really do prefer these laces. They're really good laces. They're nice and long. Now, in terms of the comfort of the glove, I am going to go ahead and tell you that this is what surprised me about the glove. It is very snug. It's not, like a crazy Mexican style glove where, you'll see that inside the glove, the sometimes in the Mexican style gloves that the inside hand compartment is so big that your fingers kind of swim around. This one is very snug, and obviously you break them in, they'll open up, but I do like that they come snug. When it comes to the fit, like just the overall comfort of it, very comfortable, very warm. But obviously you have the perforated holes here, so you don't have to worry too much about overall sweating or anything like that. I think these gloves do a really good job of making sure your hands are nice and not too sweaty, but they make sure that the hands the glove itself doesn't get too sweaty and doesn't get too wet. So they definitely dry off really well. The fingertip compartment, I could feel that has a flat surface on the fingertip compartment. It's not necessarily a secondary grip bar, but it does have a nice flat surface on the fingertips, and I could definitely feel the grip bar because of that portion of it right there. So I could feel this grip bar just because of the fingertip compartment, and it does make it feel like you are grasping onto something. Not crazy, but you know, it's not that bad. It's not like a rival glove. A rival glove will just, you'll feel the grip bar automatically. This is, you know, you'll feel something, and that's fine with me. In terms of the thumb, I thought the thumb at first looked a little small, but the thumb itself is actually okay. I have no problems with jamming of the thumb. I have no problems with issues with the thumb at all. When I look at it, it looks smaller, but it doesn't feel that way. So if that makes any sense. So if you're worried about the thumb portion of the glove, don't be so worried. I think it's natural. Now, like I said before, very soft inner liner. Now I could open and close my hands very easily. I love this about gloves, especially when you break them in more, you'll be able to do it a lot better. I love that. I think that's very good for sparring. I think that's very good for control when you are sparring. Very, very, very good feeling glove. Now, when it comes to the foam of the glove, I will mention the same thing here. Open, close, open, close, open, close. Very nice. Same thing here. I would say that the foam is a medium, and it's a nice medium. I am actually really impressed with the foam of the glove. Very, very, very protective. Very, very protective on the knuckles. You can't really feel too much discomfort when you're hitting things or anything at all. It definitely does a good job protecting your knuckles. Now, in terms of the pop of it, you know, I would say it's pretty decent. You know, I would say that, I don't know if you can, hear it so much, but very decent. I think it's, you know, for foam, for rubber, you have that nice feel to it. You know, this is definitely a glove that isn't necessarily, when it comes to the padding, it doesn't necessarily just feel so weak. It definitely rebounds pretty well. Yeah, so I would say, like, in terms of the pop of the glove, it's average. You know, you're gonna get a good pop if you hit well anyways, but I would give it an average score on the pop. I think it's a really good glove in terms of that. Obviously, every glove really sounds good on the mitts anyway. Definitely a fantastic sparring glove. Now, I don't know if I mentioned before, the punch dynamic of the glove, it does give you a nice flat punch surface here. It's a little rounded in terms of the glove, but your hands your knuckles are really right here when it comes to the punching. So it does put your hand in a nice punch position. So yeah, it's definitely something that, you know, it's kind of like a hybrid glove. It feels like a very protective glove, and it gives you the hand position of a puncher's glove, but it definitely protects your hands at the end of the day. So it's very, very good in terms of that. The performance of the glove, I mean, this is an all-around glove. This is an all-around, just all-around training glove. There is no, you know, real issues with the glove in terms of what you can use it for. They could be used for anything. Now, in terms of these perforated holes here. I don't know how long that would last. You know, for me, when you put holes in a bunch of areas on the palm side, I don't know how long this leather here would last, because obviously you're compromising the integrity of the leather for the air holes. So far they're okay, but I already see the wrinkles coming in and things like that. So I don't know how long this would last necessarily, but you know, obviously there is a liner under this, so you'll see that there's holes here, but you don't see right through. Obviously the liner is covering the perforated holes. From actually the portion of your hand, there's going to be a liner, then the perforated holes. So yeah, so I'm interested in seeing how long that would last, but it could last a long time. You know, maybe I'm being too skeptical, but it could last a long time. When it comes to the price of the glove, this is the most important part to me. These gloves, I know that on the website, if you go on Tidal, they'll say it's $199.99 MSRP, right? It's going to say it's $200 MSRP. I have never seen these gloves for $200, okay? So they've always been for $100, whether it was the Pro Max 3.0s, 2.0s, whatever you want to say. They always been for $100. They've never ever been for $200. I don't know why they keep saying the MSRP is $200 on the website, but they're not $200. They've always been $99.99, and then you'll have to pay if you buy them from the website. You'll have to pay for the shipping, or you can get a discount code. But ultimately, I bought these on Amazon, so I didn't have to pay for shipping. I got them on Amazon for $99.99. And for that price, that's a killer price. It's a killer price. I mean, I don't see many people disregarding the fact that this is an insane price for, you know, an Amazon glove, $99.99. Definitely a glove that I would see people using, because especially for beginners, but these are definitely really great gloves. I would say that they're, you know, they definitely compete with the budget glove category when it comes to the best budget gloves out there, because of the comfort and just the overall just feel of the glove, and just the performance of the glove. It's really, really, really good. It does everything really well, and I definitely recommend the glove, especially, you know, for the price point.